Nick, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about AI. Should I say artificial intelligence?
Why is this such an exciting investment opportunity?
Yeah, so when we talk about high performance compute, we're essentially talking about semiconductors. If you look at the semiconductor market over the last 50 years, it essentially appeared in the 70s when we first invented semiconductors and we used them for these big mainframe computers. It went through a huge uplift in demand when we went into the personal computer era, when semiconductors got small enough to create personal computers, and then went through another huge uplift in demand when we moved into the mobile era, where we essentially, the iPhone was created and everybody wanted a smartphone in their hand. What we now think is happening now is we're moving into what we call the fourth tectonic shift in computing, which is the shift to AI. And what is happening here is you're effectively connecting everything on the planet to the internet. And once you connect that to everything on the planet to the internet, you create reams and reams of data that you process in hyperscale data centers to effectively create generative or predictive outcomes. AI has been around for a while, creating predictive outcomes in your sort of TikTok stream or in your shopping stream, but now we have generative AI. And generative AI via ChatGPT, or generative AI by how Microsoft would use them in a Copilot product, or how you'd use it in Adobe creating a picture product, is effectively the iPhone moment for AI. It's the moment where AI has sort of come into the mainstream and there's a product that everyone can find a use for, which is generative AI, which means this explosion of the fourth tectonic shift is probably just about to happen.
And how does this differ from other events that could have been seen as a fad, such as the metaverse?
Yeah, so it's that the difference between a fad and something that's real is quite simply is whether you actually use it, whether you find a use for the product. Everyone remembers, or most people of my age at least, remembers when they first saw an iPhone. The iPhone, you went, that's a really cool product, I want one of those. But none of us have actually ever been to the metaverse for a meeting. Metaverse is an exciting concept, but no one's actually ever been there. Cryptocurrency are an exciting concept, but no one's actually ever bought a physical good with a cryptocurrency. Everyone watching this video has already interacted with AI, either unknowingly pre-ChatGPT and then knowingly with ChatGPT since December. And it's the fastest growing app in history. It's up to 200 million users already within 4 months. And it's now being integrated into every software product on the planet. Microsoft's integrating it with Copilot, Adobe's integrating it with Firefly, Salesforce is integrating it with Einstein. Every corporation on the planet is trying to decide how they're going to use a large language model to make their business better than, say, another business. And so this is a genuine boom, and it's a boom in a real boom because everybody is demanding the same product at the same time, and hence accelerating the fourth tectonic shift in computing.
And so other than semiconductors, who else is likely to benefit from this trend?
Yeah, so from our point of view, and we've said for a long time, and with our high performance compute area, that semiconductors would be the big beneficiaries of this. Ultimately, AI involves connecting a lot of devices to the internet, so small semiconductors, i.e. the Internet of Things, and then really high performance semiconductors inside the data center that ultimately process this data. They're doing it with this thing called accelerated compute. Accelerated compute is dominated by Nvidia, who make GPUs and CPUs together in a software product with software over the top called CUDA. Most of the developers know how to program this, so if you're doing AI, you're using Nvidia products. Nvidia is effectively the Apple of the AI opportunity. It is software and hardware combined to solve AI. But aside from Nvidia, there's the supply chain, which is TSMC that makes the chips for them, ASML that makes the tools for TSMC, and the software products that people use, the EDA software that they do it. And so from our point of view, that's the main bet, is in terms of semiconductors. But on top of that, there's going to be all these amazing applications. These applications are all coming. I mentioned a few of them in terms of software providers. Most of those guys are going to host that software on the cloud. And so the cloud has an important role to play here because yes, they need a lot of compute power to do this, but you need to do it with the hyperscalers. And so that really favors companies like Amazon, Google, and Microsoft, who effectively own the cloud. And then lastly, some of these people who develop these applications are going to do well. So will the Adobe product be popular or will it be disintermediated? We're not sure. But some of them will definitely do well, and there we definitely point to Microsoft, that seems to have a very strong lead with their Copilot products, not just in the cloud but also in software. And we also quite like ServiceNow from this angle in terms of their platform of software that they have, that AI could easily be used to make their software better.
You've mentioned Nvidia a few times and you were lucky enough to visit them just recently. What did you learn while you were there?
Yeah, so what we've learned from Nvidia in the last 6 months is that we thought that this would be big, sort of January, February, March. And Nvidia in May confirmed that with their results, whereby they gave guidance that saw consensus having to upgrade their earnings by 80%. And this is a top 10 company on the planet where 26 analysts globally have got their earnings wrong by 80%, not 80. So that just shows you how fast this acceleration is happening and how real it is. The company put on more than 250 billion in market cap in the one day and hasn't given it back since. When we went to see them, they are very much of the view that this is just the beginning. The iPhone moment has happened, the demand is real, it will continue throughout this year and over the next 3 to 5 years, as effectively all data centers on the planet have to go accelerated. They need to accelerate to basically cope with these new large language generative AI workloads that companies are demanding everywhere. Companies are demanding these workloads because that's how they're going to beat their competitor. And so we are right at the start of this next big shift. I have no doubt these stocks will consistently get ahead of themselves over the next 3 years. But the demand is real and we expect the demand to keep coming and the earnings upgrades to keep coming all year and into next as well.
And so what are you using ChatGPT for?
We use ChatGPT to summarize earnings transcripts, and I think everyone on this call will find ChatGPT or even Microsoft GPT, one of the best things you can do with it is it can record a meeting and summarize the meeting for you. And these are all just some of the great tools that these large language models are going to create. And I personally look forward to the wonderful things it's going to help save in my daily life going forward.